So today is June 11th. It's a Sunday. That's right, about like 11:40 something at night, I think, right now. Today is actually the 1 year anniversary for the Power Palace Gym, 1980s themed bodybuilding, powerlifting, sports conditioning, fitness center, open 24 hours a day here in Newberg, Oregon. And the gym is not exactly the state that I would like it to be in. I'm in the process of rearranging some equipment, moving things around a little bit, which didn't get finished earlier today. I need to wait on some people to help me move some of the heavier pieces of equipment, but there's only like 3 pieces of equipment that need to be moved. They just happen to be really heavy things like the super pullover machine. Anyway, my original hope was to do like a big, celebration thing, but we're just not there yet for the gym financially. The gym is bringing in, a decent amount of money. It's bringing in almost $8,000 a month in membership dues alone, okay? Which is enough for it to keep the lights on and keep buying some additional equipment, make some space improvements and stuff in here. But it's not really enough to throw a big party or anything, right? So, but I do want to show off a little bit of how far we have come. So the entrance is kind of similar to what it was when we first opened up. I've added things. Okay, I had the fridge. I got this fridge, actually was basically thrown away by a grocery store. Had some minor issues, but fixed it up, was totally good. It's been running just fine just in here. Perfectly. It keeps out all the drinks nice and frozen, okay? It is a perfectly functional fridge that had no reason to be thrown away. Got it for free. Vending machine. Went and bought this thing from some bar down in Eugene, I think. And what I like about this is that it is a 1980s model vending machine. And it's full of a bunch of different snackage, okay, here for the members. Different snacks and things. The mannequins originally were over here by the Mannequin 2 on the Move movie poster, which I thought was kind of funny. But I've since moved it over here just because they're kind of in the way there from the way that this is currently set up with the cardio equipment having already come all the way to that line now. Originally, I didn't have this much cardio equipment. So now I have the mannequins over here. And there's one thing I don't like is that they're blocking the Last Starfighter poster, but that's okay. I've added more decor up here as well, a little bit more decor, just been adding things, lots of band posters and stuff like that. The Masters of the Universe poster, the Dolph Lundgren one, that wasn't originally there. It was originally where the arm room now is. We have a dedicated arm room. I've got a sign which has not arrived yet called, it's a neon sign or LED neon sign. That's going to say the Armory on it. And I've got this little pumping bicep arm that's going to go right next to it. That has arrived, but the actual signage hasn't arrived yet. That says the Armory. So unfortunately, I don't have that up just yet. And the Armory is, not all its equipment in there. I'll show you what's in there. But the signage that makes it all, kind of finishes the theme isn't really there. I bought these machines. I had these in the hallway. Fortunately, my neighbor complained about them being in the hallway, claimed it was a fire hazard. I think she just wanted the money. Like she's entitled to, money from a machine that I bought fixed up because a lot of these globes were broken. I had to replace a lot of the stuff on this because some of them were broken. They didn't have any keys. I fixed these up, cleaned them up, and then filled them with, snackage and some things that you'd commonly see in the 1980s, like the little Ninja Men. Anybody remember the little Ninja Men? I had a little Ninja Men here. And, of course, the temporary tattoos of tigers and scorpions and snakes and stuff. Of course, peanuts and some Mike and Ike's and whatever else. Like, you commonly see this type of stuff. And people are like, oh, you're giving candy at a gym. Sometimes people just need a little bit of, candy as part of their pre-workout. Just get a little bit of sugar rush going on. Or post-workout even. So, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of candy. It's not like it's that many calories. Like, a handful of this stuff is probably not even 100 calories. So, give me a break. Anyway, cardio section. Cardio section has kind of come a long way. I originally had I had 3 home gym treadmills in here. and one commercial one. The original commercial one, the motor was having issues. I had it repaired, and then it immediately broke down again. So that one has been scrapped. This one was donated to the gym actually by the physical therapy place. The motor in it had burned out. I had the motor replaced. It's been running just fine. And then I've recently purchased this. This is a used Orange Theory treadmill. It's a free motion model. It's really nice. I only wish that the heart rate monitor was actually built into it. Apparently Orange Theory uses some type of Fitbit system for tracking. I guess it has some sort of gamification thing going on. I'm honestly not that familiar with Orange Theory as a gym. I know that they have some sort of gamification model that they're doing, and that they do high intensity interval training. But anyway, they have a special model. It still says Welcome to Orange Theory on it. I don't know how to change it. I've been trying to get in contact with the manufacturer to figure out how to reprogram this thing. But the heart rate monitor basically doesn't work on this. But what does work is the little fan. The fan's awesome. Fan comes out of here. It's a really nice treadmill. A lot of my members are liking it. Ellipticals. I got these when I first opened up, and no, I had one when I opened up, and then I got the second one. Got a very good deal on the second one. So now I have two of them in here. Rower took a long time to get a rower in, but we have a nice Concept 2 rower, and it doesn't get as used as much as I thought it was going to get used by members, but it's definitely a nice piece here. I've got these two little bikes here. And then we have recently acquired our step mill, which is very popular with our members. Nobody can seem to do it for more than maybe 15 minutes, which is understandable because this thing will definitely kick your ass. I do it for, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Sometimes the weighted vest, sometimes not. It's a good fat burner, and it has a built-in fan on it. It's a Star Trek, it's a good brand. We've added the arm wrestling table, of course. We have our little arm wrestling. Some members that are interested in arm wrestling, we're trying to get a little arm wrestling club going. It's not going as well as I'd hoped, but eventually we'll get there. I do have a few cable attachments, cable machine attachments that are for arm wrestling. Some members like it. The chest area has come a long way. This is probably like the 5th remodel, or at least the reorganization of it, okay? So I've got kind of this triangular thing going on with the flat benches right now. I started out just having the one flat bench, which is this. This was purchased from somebody that had bought it from, I think, Tigard High School. So it'd been in their high school for a number of years, was replaced. It's from InShape, which is a local, or at least used to be a local manufacturing company of equipment. I forget the gentleman's name, but it was originally founded by a bodybuilder from the 80s, early 90s, who would compete in local stuff. I think he was an Emerald Cup winner over there in Washington, won those shows a few times. Anyway, he sold the company to another gentleman who, his name's Brad. I forget his last name, but Brad currently works, he has a company where they sell and use gym equipment and new gym equipment in Salem, which is not called InShape. But anyway, so that's a little bit of the history of the InShape company. I've got a few InShape pieces. They're actually really nice pieces. I like them a lot. And this one definitely is a popular bench with a lot of members. This one is a Maxicam bench. Purchased this mostly because Rock really enjoys this type of bench. It's the same kind of bench that has been in gyms in Newburgh for many, many years. We think it might have been, at Excel. Not 100% sure, but it's definitely the same model of bench that was at the Newburgh Excel gym location that shut down during COVID-19, which was also the same bench was at the Newburgh Gold's Gym, which became Excel Gym, and then also the same equipment that was at the Health Habit gym here in Newburgh, which shut down in the 90s. This is a hoist decline bench that I got for a really good price. Actually, I think I bought this for like $300, and it's a really nice piece of equipment. It's definitely worth a lot more than $300. It's probably one of the nicer ones. I had a second decline bench, a hammer strength one, but this one was much nicer, and we decided to keep this one, and I sold off the hammer strength one. Really didn't need that many decline benches, to be honest. And then, of course, we have the military press, which is really more of a shoulder piece of equipment. But because it needs to be in front of mirrors for people to have good form, I have it over here. It was over here in this kind of area for a very long time, but that's just too much in the dumbbell section, so I rearranged things a little bit after I moved all the preacher curl stuff into the arm room, and now we got a little bit more space here for the military press. This cable crossover, I didn't have this originally when I opened. I had a different one, which was a MaxiCam, which was a nice, definitely a nice one. I bought that one for actually like $50. It was in some guy's apartment over in Portland, and it took several. I think we had like five guys, including me, move it, down the steps and down the driveway and all that, load in the back of my dad's car trailer. It was a really nice crossover, but the problem with it is at the bottom attachments would grind against the steel piece at the bottom of the crossover, and it just kept. People were not supposed to use it inside like that. They were supposed to actually bring the cables out here, but almost nobody did that, and they kept damaging the cables. I replaced the cables twice. I got tired of having to replace the cables because people were not using the machine correctly, so I sold that one. I had bought this one because it's a Kevlar built-driven crossover, which is fairly obscure. This is a Nautilus ST2 series cable crossover machine. It has kind of an optimal position for a tricep pull down, which I like a lot about this. It was originally set up right here, but it's been moved over here now. And the other cable crossover, of course, which I'll show you in a moment, is over here as well, which is different. I didn't have this originally either. I acquired this after opening the gym, and it has adjustable cable crossovers on it. This is the Incline MaxiCam bench, which is a really good bench. It is a popularly used piece of equipment. Everything in here honestly gets used. Some stuff is not as popular as others, of course, but even our reverse hyper bench gets used by people. So I actually have another one of these inclined benches, which is disassembled in my supply closet, basically. It's kind of actually a little bit difficult to find incline and decline benches around here. So I didn't sell off the other one. I just have it disassembled in case that I can, once we can expand the gym a little bit, or maybe open a second location, I'll already have a nice inclined bench that we can use. But for right now, we don't really need two inclined benches on the floor, so just the one is here. Dumbbells, which is what the set that I had when I first opened up, is still here. That goes all the way up to 125 pounds. Of course, they're not the same. This is an old cap. They're almost hand-me-down dumbbells in a way, because they definitely have seen a lot of usage over the years, but they all have very good, strong welds on them. None of the handles are bent. The rubber definitely peels off very easily. I cold welded some of the caps back on, but some of them, have popped off. Some of them have stayed on though. Like you see the much heavier ones. I cold welded this on. It's still kind of on there. I need to cold weld it again. But they've endured pretty much. I was missing one 50-pound, so I ended up buying this from, I think I ordered it off Amazon. It doesn't really match the other one, but, iron is iron, right? Still do not have the bottom row of dumbbells here. These are American dumbbells, clearly made back in the 80s. They're a very good set. They're definitely pretty strong, and they don't need to be retightened that often. And they work pretty well. Benches, stationary benches. All the benches I bought when I first opened up. I think the only thing that I've bought afterward is this and the reverse hyper. But I had the decline bench. I had all these inclined ones. I had the Rogue Fat Pad. That was a requirement for me personally because I like to do dumbbell presses. And I find this to be a very great bench for doing dumbbell presses on. It really supports the shoulders, which is an important thing for dumbbell pressing. This 90 degree, I think it's called the 90 degree bench, is very good for doing various shoulder workouts with dumbbells, and it's a nice piece of kit. I didn't have this when I first opened up though. It was actually kind of hard for me to find affordable, nice 90 degree benches. I've got a second one now though over with the shoulder area. Hyperextension bench. I just recently acquired this. I wanted to get one of these for a long time, and it took me almost an entire year to find one that was affordable. This is a really nice commercialized one from the company. It's called Tough Stuff, and it's got wheels on it. It's adjustable lengthens here. It goes more flat. Of course, some people wonder why I have this here. This is, considered to be a piece of back extension equipment, but the reason I have it over the dumbbell section is because doing a reverse fly for your rear delt, this is really the best way to do it, because you have your feet isolated down here. You can adjust the angle very effectively for different, some people have to hit different angles than others to try to hit their rear delt more effectively. This is just a good thing to have here for that. Of course, some people do it for back extensions, but the real reason why I acquired this and have it over here is so people can do rear flies with it. Shoulder section. Originally, this was intended to become a juice bar, which I haven't got around. We just don't have enough space to do the juice bar, is the truth. I need the space for equipment. But the water fountain is still here. There was, when I first opened up, a water fountain, another sink that was here, because originally where I'm leasing was a physical therapy building. They had exam rooms all throughout here. We had to take all that stuff down. And had to remove the sink, which I had done, I want to say about maybe 4 months ago. So for a long time we had the sink here, and it was just sort of, in the way. Removed it, so now I can shift equipment down a little bit. Four-way neck machine is now over here with the shoulder area, because traps, really are part of shoulder workouts in my opinion. Shrug machine's right next to it. I didn't have this when I first opened either. This I definitely had. I had the side lateral raised Nautilus machine, which is a very excellent machine. It definitely locks you in there. You kind of feel like you're in the jaws, of life here, but it's definitely a really great isolation equipment for the sides of your shoulders. Had this also when I first opened up. I got a really great deal on a lot, not a lot, but LOT, not a LOT, but a variety of hammer strength equipment, which had the decline press in it and also the chest press in it as well. This was also in that assembled this front military press. Kind of an obscure piece of equipment from Hammer Strength's line. It works, your shoulders and the upper chest at the same time. So it's almost like a inclined press in a way. You could definitely do quite a bit of weight on it. Acquired this, I want to say maybe 5 months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Precor Icarian line, which I have since learned were actually kind of obscure piece of equipment. These machines are super isolating. This one I definitely can't press as much as I can on this. It's a very isolating piece of equipment, just like the incline press is as well. Very excellent piece of equipment. Not as, more vintage as some of the stuff I have in here, but I like it a lot. And if I can find more Precor Icarian line stuff, I'll probably buy it. Turned out that the line was not very popular though, so the machines are kind of obscure. This little area here I'll just quickly dive into. This is the calisthenic, boxing sort of area. I've added things since now. I've got a couple different boxing bags that can be traded out. Originally just had the 100-pound. Now we've also got this. I think this is an 80-pound ringside, very stiff bag. A lot of different, accessories people can use. We've got a battle rope station here, which is actually being used from a leftover bench from that lot of hammer strength stuff. I actually ended up with a bunch of pieces of hammer strength equipment that don't go to anything. And this is one of those pieces. I didn't have like the rest of it. I just had like the bench. So we've been using it as a little station for battle ropes and people to do, their ab curls and stuff. Plyo boxes, Bellow Steel plyo box, very good, very affordable, very popular. Got the mirrors up in here now. Didn't originally have the mirrors in here. Standing bags we've got in here now, and of course the GHD that I originally purchased. This is from the company Muscle Max, I think. It says Muscle Max on it. So I can only assume. I'm not super familiar with the company Muscle Max, to be honest, though. It is not a bad GHD. I wish it was a little bit more stable, I guess. If you're trying to do like weighted back extensions on it, or curl or ab curls or something like that, you probably want to kind of weigh it down with dumbbells, and some members end up doing that. I would really like to get like either a hammer strength one or maybe an old school Body Masters one. They have very heavy bases. They're basically impossible to move. This one's at least nice because you can move it around a little bit. But on the other hand, I really don't like members moving this around too much because people keep putting them in front of the mirrors, which kind of freaks me out because the very last thing I want to do is clean up a bunch of freaking glass. You can already see that the mirrors are damaged a little bit. Foam rollers in here. Got a little leg stretcher in here. A little massage table here, people to stretch out on, so they don't have to do it on the floor. And these are some old weighted vests that I had used over the years, mostly back from when I was in the Army. Had these weighted vests. So, anyway, turn off the light in here. We'll go check out the rest of the chest section, which is some new things that I acquired I didn't have originally when I was first here. So, let's see. We've got, of course, this little accessory rack here. A lot of different crap in here. Pretty much everything I had when I first opened up. I've got all kinds of accessories here. Got chains and everything. Lat attachments. Most of the stuff I had. No, actually, I think I had all this stuff when I first opened up. I went and got mag grips. Those are kind of an important thing. Mostly I've had to only replace 2 cable crossover handles and 1 tricep pull down rope. Everything else is endured. Some of the stuff is already old school. This double D handle is a very old school piece of equipment. Mostly we had to replace things because people were using the cable crossovers to do a different type of grip. On this bent over row station, they were just breaking it, so I went and bought these more heavy duty handles here that are actually for deadlifting. And haven't had people breaking them, the crossover handles, since. So this cable crossover, by the way, has the cable row built into it as well as a lat pull down. When I first opened up, I had different ones. I had a standalone lat pull down, standalone cable crossover. It was actually missing the foot pad, so I had stuck in, as a temporary measure, I put in a seated calf raise machine, sort of something basically like this. It was off of a a seated calf raise machine is what it was off of, and I basically just stuck it in there so people could use it as a foot pad, and it worked, but this is a much nicer setup. This is a better setup, and it has cable crossover built into it. They're adjustable, nice stacks. It also has 2 stacks at the end, you'll notice, that are not I have the weight stacks. I'm going to put them back on. At least on this side, I'm going to put it back on over here. But over here, actually missing this entire section, so I can't put the stack on. But I have the weights for it. So, I think when I opened up, I didn't have the Titan multi grip bench, our bar bench, and I didn't have the tricep. I recently purchased the tricep so people could do skull crushers a little bit more effectively, especially now since I don't have the fixed barbells over here anymore. This is a good setup here. People keep putting the wooden stretching pole into the bar holder for some reason, which kind of freaks me out because it'll definitely get broken in there. And then we have the fat grip axle bench here for strongman stuff. Okay, wide hammer strength. Didn't have this when I first opened up. Another very nice piece of equipment, kind of not as commonly seen these days at gyms. It almost simulates the angle of doing a dumbbell press, which I like a lot, especially since I tore my brachialis a couple months after opening this damn place. I can't really do dumbbell presses the way that I used to, so I like having this machine. Had this one when I opened up. This was in the lot of hammer strength equipment. It's just a regular chest press, what it is. This machine really shouldn't be there. I'm actually in the process of rearranging things that I mentioned before. This is a rotary torso machine from Nautilus. Did have this when I first opened up. Good machine if you want to work on obliques. not as popular of a muscle group to train, but always good to have an oblique trainer in your gym, I think. Eventually this is going to go over in that corner there once I move things around a little bit, because I want all the back stuff in here, and having an ab machine in my chest and back area is not really what I want to have. Machine bench press from Nautilus. It's actually part of the For Women line, but the only thing that makes it for women, from my understanding, is that the bar here is a little bit lower down to your chest than on the normal model. The Nautilus For Women line is kind of interesting. It was made for a series of Nautilus For Women gyms that were women exclusive gyms. From my understanding, and this is one of those pieces that has survived. They're not as common to find because the Nautilus For Women gyms were not as popular as just the regular Nautilus centers. So, but a nice, good piece of kit. Very popular with people that actually a lot of members actually use this thing. So it's a good piece of equipment. 10 degree chest. Oh, I should probably mention, after I tore my brachialis, I couldn't do a lot of different things with my left arm. And when my brachialis had finally recovered enough that I could do something with it and it didn't hurt like hell, this is part of what I used to kind of rehabilitate my brachialis. I was pressing on this because I couldn't do it on even that. And I definitely couldn't do a conventional barbell press, so I was pressing on this and using the Nautilus multi-bicep machine, which I'll show you in a bit, to sort of rehabilitate my left brachialis that I had torn. So really good piece of equipment. Don't underestimate it just because it's a machine bench press. It says For Women. It's actually a really nice piece of equipment. The angle on it is very isolating for the chest. 10 degree chest, which is a really great fly machine. I don't have, you can eventually go into a gym and you have the combo pec fly rear delt machine. I have not been able to find a good one that is affordable. That's something that's really important to think about as a gym owner, in my opinion. There's a lot of really shitty pec fly rear delt combo machines that, either the pec fly doesn't really hit the pecs very well, but has a really good rear delt, or it's the opposite. The pec fly is really great, but the rear delt doesn't have the range of motion that you need to actually isolate that rear delt very well. So I don't have one on the floor yet. I'm trying to find, because I have, if I'm going to have something on the floor, I want it to be a good piece of equipment, right? But what I do have here is a 10 degree chest, which is probably the best fly, exercise machine you could possibly get. It is very deep into the pecs. Goes as low as it goes lower than you could normally get it with dumbbells in your hands. So I love this machine. I love to drop set with it. Double chest machine. Fortunately, the weight stack only goes 250, but with a gym pin, I can get another 100 pounds on there. But this is an excellent piece of equipment, very isolating. You step on the platform, these arms come up for a decline press, and they are ISO. These arms are also ISO, which is another nice thing. Not a lot of fly machines are ISO. And it's at an incline as well, so it's really great to work on the lower chest muscles. This is the other Icarian machine that I bought. It's a incline press, so for the upper chest. We kind of refer to this as the Ego Crusher because it's, even me, I can only get 245s on each side and just a couple reps out. It is definitely exposes a weak area of the chest for a lot of people, because even when you're doing a barbell incline press, a lot of people, can kind of cheat it, get their shoulders in there, but this thing is super, super isolating. I love it. Wonderful piece of equipment. Definitely would like to have more Icarian Precor stuff in here, or just Icarian in general, I think, because it's probably using Icarian line design. Recently acquired this Cybex Eagle Row. This is, I think this is actually the newest piece of equipment that I have in here. I literally bought it last month. No, not even that. I think I bought it a couple weeks ago, so maybe half a month ago. ISO row, very, very good angle, nice piece of equipment, like it a lot. And of course then we have the chest supported row. Didn't have this originally when I opened up either. This is a really good chest row. I like it personally a lot. The only thing, I sometimes see other chest supported rows that have the rotational handles and stuff, but I honestly think this is a really good piece of kit. There's really no reason to replace it. Cybex, which is a combo ab crunch machine, also a back extension machine. You sit backwards on it, and it's a back extension machine. see your foot pedals there. Didn't have this when I first opened up. This was actually donated to the gym. I had a different Nautilus crunch machine, and you know, crunch machines are not that popular, and if I'm going to have one in here, it'd be nice to have it have dual purpose, and this takes up less space than the other one. So I sold the ab crunch machine for the next gen Nautilus one, and I replaced it with the Cybex one. So I like Nautilus equipment. I love collecting it. Good equipment, but I have to be realistic as well with my space considerations in the gym. This also, I purchased this later from the same gentleman that I purchased the wide strength hammer strength machine from. This is a isolateral front lat pull down machine, also known as a leverage lat pull down machine. Really great for people starting out with weightlifting who have difficulty isolating their lats with the more conventional lat pull down cable row model. This is a great machine even for experienced bodybuilders. However, you can definitely isolate, sculpt your lats using this machine. Now, of course, we have the super pullover machine, which is another great way to work the lats. It is the only way to isolate your lats that won't activate your biceps. This is a next-gen Nautilus model, which is still a great model. It's still using cam wheels, it's still using the bicycle chains. Doesn't have, I don't think it has 2 cam wheels in it though, however, which the original design did have. But it's just as good in my opinion. Dorian Yates, of course, multi-time Mr. Olympia, is really well known for developing his Cobra Head lats using this machine, so very inspirational for our members. These two machines need, as I mentioned before, all the lat stuff. I'm trying to move down into that section here, the back stuff. That plate-loaded Nautilus back extension machine. Did have this when I first opened up. Pretty good machine, actually. It's a nice one. But it is plate loaded, and I kind of get tired of coming back here and having to, look, see someone's left the plates on, and they've left the collar lock on here. And what I really dislike having to do is constantly clean this up because, taking stuff away from over there. So I might end up replacing this with something that's more selectorized, probably in one of the Nautilus lines. If I can find a next gen. Or anything from Gen 1 to next gen Nautilus rear back machine, or ideally maybe even a Med-X back extension machine. That would probably be the most ideal, is a Med-X one. But this is good for right now, and eventually I'll replace this with one of those. Verse Hyper bench from Rogue, really great piece of equipment. Sometimes have members trying to use it as a table. I have to get on them about that. Not as popular, of course. It's a very circumstantial piece of kit. It's good for people that want to work the posterior chain muscles. If you're a big deadlifter, squatter, we're doing a lot of weight, those muscles often get ignored and you start having lower back problems. This will usually correct it. Westside Barbell is really well known for having it. It's also incorporated in CrossFit training, of course. But it's a good piece of equipment to have at a bodybuilding gym for that the reasons I just mentioned. Lower body section here. I have recently acquired this piece of equipment, which is an ISO hammer strength leg press. Another kind of, more unusual piece, but I really like it a lot. I got 540 pounds on this thing, so it's definitely a machine that, I enjoy personally. Comparing it to the more traditional design of an inclined plate-loaded press, this one's ISO, so you can't cheat with your stronger leg. It forces you to develop both legs. The other thing I find is that I personally feel, not everybody feels it that way. I don't know how they're using it. I use it with my knees literally on my chest, which is the position you're supposed to start in. And I find that it's very hamstring dominant compared to this, which, depending on where you put your foot, it's a little bit more quad dominant. But both are good pieces of things. The unfortunate thing is that this is kind of more custom made. It was made by a local guy here, Rob, who makes roll bars here in Newberg, Oregon for race cars. The story is that he actually owned a gym over in Oregon City with another gentleman, and he built some custom pieces of equipment. This is one of those surviving pieces. And it is a good leg press. The only problem is that it's good leg press in the design of it, right? The problem is that the bar is a lot smaller than you would normally see on a leg press, so you can't get as much weight. And of course, there's only one bar on it. So its leg capacity, its weight capacity is less than I would like. But the only thing I would really replace this with is probably a Nebula leg press. That's probably what I would replace this with. And, you know, that's if I even sell it. I might end up, because I'm kind of thinking about making a second location in maybe another year. I would probably put this into a second location, or when I expand the gym, just keep it and have, you know, it's not bad to have 2 leg presses. They're a pretty popular piece of equipment. So not bad to have a second plate loaded incline one. But I definitely, if I was going to upgrade from this, I would get the Nebula. And then, of course, we have a selectorized Paramount leg press, which is actually not too bad. There's some members that really enjoy this one. So I personally not a big fan of it. I would have sold it off after getting the Hammer Strength one. But a few members said that they prefer this one over that one. So I will keep it. Hammer Strength, Nautilus leg extension machine. I like this one a lot. Very, very isolating machine for the quads. 3 different leg curl machines now. Originally started out with just the seated one. Some members do not like the seated one. It does have, it's definitely been designed for people that are probably a little bit taller than me. I have to sort of arch my back no matter what, you know, the optimal position for me is to put it almost about here, actually, a little bit more forward, and then sort of arch my back a little bit, and then I can really isolate the hamstrings in it. I personally am fine with doing that, but some people want to have their back totally flat against it for some reason. This is another Paramount line leg curl machine. Not a big fan, personally, of the line leg curl ones, but as far as line leg curls go, it has the arch here, which is an important part of isolating those hamstrings compared to the more traditional flat one, which is not. It's really more glute focused. So, and then of course we have a standing leg curl machine from Body Masters, which I really enjoy a lot. I was really wanting to get a nice standing curl one. This was being sold for a very cheap price. I think I got this for like $300 or something. And I had to buy it, especially because it's a Body Masters piece. So, had the hoist kickback, glute kickback in here since I opened up. Got a really good deal on this. It was sold by me to the same guy who I purchased many Nautilus pieces from. Great machine. Acquired the Nautilus bridge. Actually, this is not a Nautilus. This is a knockoff of the Nautilus glute bridge design, but it's basically identical machine. Very good one. Added this sort of skateboard turf to it to make it a little bit more grippy. But really nice piece of equipment, very popular piece of equipment with my members. Nice weight capacity on it. Really good, because I had a lot of members who were trying to do the more, you know, using the benches over there and the barbells, and, you know, I felt bad about them for a long time, but I had a hard time trying to afford something like this, because you rarely see these being sold used. I had to buy this one new. Standing calf raise machine. This is actually the third one that I purchased. The first one I purchased was basically a homemade thing that somebody had made out of, I think, a cherry picker or something. Didn't have a very high weight capacity on it, and it was kind of rickety. It was definitely meant for somebody very large. I had a hard time using it personally, with being how short I am. So I got this. This is actually from the company Pro Maxima. The other one that I had on the floor is a plate-loaded one, which again doesn't have super high capacity on it, but a lot of members like doing single legs on it. But this is a better one. This is a better. The only thing I wish is that it had more capacity. The weights only go up to 500 pounds, and I can do 500 pounds for several reps, you know. So I end up, usually what I do is I put it on at like about maybe 360 pounds, and then I superset between this machine and the seated calf machine with about 90 pounds on it. And that tends to really burn my calves, I find. But it is a good piece of equipment. I probably won't sell this because not everybody has very strong calves. But I would definitely like to upgrade from this and get a much higher capacity standing calf machine. I might have to get one of those plate-loaded inclined ones, to be honest. This is the first calf machine, seated calf machine that I bought. I actually have a second one. The reason why I don't have the other one out here, first off, this is a nice piece. I like this one a lot. It needs to be tightened up every couple months, but it's a good piece of equipment. The other one is an even nicer one than this, but the problem is that instead of the bar going straight up, it actually sticks out like that, which would be kind of in the walkway. And just for various safety reasons, like allow there to be a little bit of walkway here, I decided to not put that one out because it's kind of like a unicorn horn. It's gonna go into somebody's butthole or something. So I'll leave this one on the floor for right now until I can kind of rearrange this section a little bit and spread it out a bit more. Then I'll probably take this off the floor and replace it with the other one. And the other one, I think, is a Body Masters one. Maxicam Muscle Dynamics. This is a really great pull-up machine, pull-up dip machine. When I bought it from the guy didn't really know what it was. He knew that it had pull-ups on it, he knew it was dip, but he thought that he was using this as a cable row. So he's putting a bench up to it, and he showed me how he was doing it. He said he said it was a cable row machine to me, to be honest. That's how he had listed it on Facebook Marketplace as. And I guess you can use it as a cable row. You definitely can. But what this is actually is for attaching a dip belt to it, and then using it for adding resistance to your dips and your pull-ups. That's actually what that weight stack is intended for. Nautilus ST2 series. I took the cover off here because people kept hitting it in this little walkway area. Now people don't hit it as much. You can tell that it has a Kevlar belt-driven system here, using the plastic wheels here, which is fine. It's a good piece of equipment. I like it personally. A lot of my members like it as well. So, good piece of kit to have. And finally, we come to the newest addition to the gym. This is, again, the decor is not 100% finished just yet. It's missing some of the signage up here. But this is the Armory, the dedicated arm workout room. And the lights are off in here because it just kind of looks cool, but I'll turn the lights on for the purpose of this video. I added this vintage Hulk Hogan, like 1989, I think it was made, in light switch that I think was in some kid's bedroom or something, and now it's in our little 1980s themed bodybuilding gym. I've got some great equipment in here. We have the Nautilus Super Forearm Machine, considered to be one of the rarest pieces of equipment, bodybuilding pieces of equipment. Really great machine, has a very good stack on it. The stack goes up to, of course, 200 pounds, and of course I can add a little bit more with the gym pin. Has gripper, pronation, supination handles, and wrist curls. And it really great machine. I love this thing a lot, and a lot of my members really enjoy this as well. And then we have a tricep extension machine. This tricep extension machine, you basically karate chop it, okay, just like that. And it's not it's called the multi-tricep. It's not a bad machine, but it's not as ideal. You definitely need to do cable, rope pull downs. If you're going to do this, you definitely should maybe consider also doing a dip for triceps, which is why I have the seated tricep dip machine in here. It is from the Nautilus Power Plus line. It is a very popular piece of equipment. A lot of members really, really love it. I added this hockey grip tape thing to it because it didn't have anything on here, and it's just a good piece of equipment. This is the first preacher curl that I purchased. It's an old Maxicam one from Muscle Dynamics, and it's, obviously you can see I've done a little patch job because I couldn't find an exact green color here, but it's it's a really good piece of equipment. Curl bar here, and it's a flat one, of course. And flats, if you're not familiar with the differences between different types of preacher curls, the flat head focuses, it's more isolating for the bicep, and then this is the original version of the preacher curl, which is the round-headed model. This is a Nautilus one, also I think from the Power Plus line, and it lets you bring your forearms more into the bicep curl. So good to have both, I think, even though it takes up a bit more space than I would prefer. It's good to offer both of them so people can have their choice of what type of preacher curl that they would like to do. Fixed barbells in here. Originally did not have a stand for my fixed barbells, which is a bit of a problem. But now I have this MaxiCam one. You could tell that I don't have all the fixed barbells that I have. To be perfectly honest, I would prefer to have one of the more old school upright stands here, where you know, instead of them being, you know, sideways, they're actually standing straight up with the fixed barbells. And I probably, once I can find a set which has one of those holders, I'll probably switch them out. I do not know who manufactured these fixed barbells. They're not bad fixed barbells, but I think the most weight is up to 55 pounds on each side, which is why I have the plate-loaded curl bars in here. It takes up more space in here than I would like, so I would like to have the, you know, the rack where it sits upright, and I'll eventually get that. I'll eventually get one of those in here. And last but not certainly least is the multi-bicep machine from Nautilus. Really good machine, actually. Not a bad one. You know, this is the basic default way to use it, where you just sit in it like this. But I like to often, you know, stand up outside of it, put my shoulder up like this, and just curl this way as well, which is another way to sort of isolate different parts of your bicep. Really great, useful machine. I like it a lot, and now it's got its own dedicated, you know, it's in its own dedicated space. Decor-wise, that I've added a lot of stuff in here. A lot of these posters. I had that poster when I first opened up. I recently acquired this really nice original Tom Platz, which is from the, I think it was from the 81 Olympia, but it has a copyright of 82 on it. But I think it was actually the 81 Olympia. Somebody will have to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it's from John Balak, photographer. And of course, I've got another one of those prints here from the same shoot, from Tom flexing his biceps. And I've got some autographed stuff in here. Got a nice autographed Ronnie Coleman photo of him, just, you know, that bicep just peaked on there. Got David Fisher here. We've got Franco up here. We've got Rachel McKellish, Roy Duvall, you know. We've got all kinds of legends in here. Got Flex Wheeler in here. Got Shannon Metarod, I guess. Of course, we got Arnie from, I think this shoot was from the 81. I think it's from 81. And then, of course, there is a Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, with Miss Elizabeth. And just, you know, I got a lot of posters. I could make a whole video just about the damn posters I have in here, but I've got a lot of great, you know, mostly original posters in here from lots of different bodybuilding magazines and stuff like that. That really put a lot of effort into trying to get the decor in here just right. I've recently added these TVs, and I've, you know, found old footage of, you know, Mr. T, you know, doing interviews, bodybuilders working out, all kinds of stuff up on these TVs. It just plays a bunch of clips I ripped off YouTube on rotation is what it does. I've got a TV over here, there as well. And of course, we've got the cardio section where I just play Pluto TV all day. Usually the 80s channel, stuff like the 90s channel, Baywatch channel, and things like that. So, kind of takes us full circle around the gym. So it's been kind of a long video. Apologize for just sort of, you know, Uncle Bob in it, you know, using my cell phone. And it's not super well edited, but I hope that it was very informative for people. This is, you know, I think that this is definitely, it got the makings for a really legendary gym that can help people work out, you know, in a very optimal way. I've got basically everything you can think of. You got a 4-way neck training machine here. Oh, I didn't cover that, did I? The 4-way neck training machine. Bought this. I think I had this since I opened up, actually. This is a good piece of kit. And it's also, I think, from InShape. But anyway, basically covers all the equipment that's in here. You know, you can see a lot of the decor that's in here. And it's just an environment where you feel like you want to train like it's the 1980s, right? And you can do that because I've got the equipment from the 1980s, some 90s, you know, 2000-ish stuff, but mostly it's all old school equipment, kinds of equipment that most of the people on this wall would have used to develop the physiques that they have, you know. And you've got, you know, you're not distracted. I don't play the news in here, okay? I want people to feel like they're transported back in time into their own personal action movie montage when they work out in here. and they can pursue their goals, whether it's weight loss, whether it's, muscular physique development, sports conditioning, or they just want to move a little bit in an environment that feels fun and a little bit more personal than going to one of the big box gyms like the Purple Planet or anything else you can think of. The sad thing is, I've gone into some of the more, Gold's Gym has done a remodel. They're now owned by basically the Planet Fitness equivalent in Germany, which is a company called McFit. And you would think the Gold's Gym is the environment, it has the feeling of the 80s, but it really doesn't. It kind of feels like a Planet Fitness in there now. Just this very, it doesn't feel like a hardcore gym. It's not a gym meant for hardcore weightlifting anymore. A lot of these Gold's Gyms are. And the remodels that they've done, it's just, how do I explain it? There's no grit there, right? Like a lot of them won't even let you use chalk anymore. So there's no grit. They don't want people to grunt too much, They don't want you to make too many loud noises. You can't distract other people, from weightlifting by weightlifting, which is just kind of silly. And, they really force the environment of, don't socialize. A lot of the equipment's all spread out. It's encouraging people to not be in contact with other people, which I think is kind of the opposite of having a gym. A gym should feel kind of like a community, You're making friends at the gym. You're working out together, That's got an important social aspect, I think, of sticking with a gym, is that you have other people, you have friendships with, that you motivate with, that you talk with, you share information with, you chit-chat with. It becomes part of your social network, if you will, like the real one, not the apps, like the actual original social networks that people had back in the day. Like the gym is a social network, right? So I'm trying to build something like that here, and I think that I'm accomplishing that. We've got a good community of people. We're over 200 members. I think we're technically at 204 members right now. So it's coming along. It's coming along, and happy birthday, Power Palace Gym, 1 year old, and let's try to get ourselves another 200 members by this time next year. Get to 400 members. That would be super cool. And hopefully I'll just keep expanding the gym, maybe take over their spaces here in the shopping plaza, expand it. That's my hope, because I want to build the best possible gym I possibly can. And that's just, what we're doing. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Cheers.